Good morning, welcome to Going to Ground on Monday in what Christians call Holy Week. It can be quite hard to remember where we are in the seasons at the moment, but we're on Monday in Holy Week, what Christians call Holy Week at least, which is the week leading up to Easter, when we think particularly about the last days of Jesus' life leading up to the cross and to Easter Day. And I'm here, as you can see, outside again, and I'm stood in front of this hawthorn bush, which is just coming into bud, and on the branch here, I don't know if you can see it, but there's just a single tear of rain about to fall off. There it is. And a good reminder this week of all the beauty and yet all the sharpness that exists in the life around us at the moment and in the story which we're thinking of, packed with thorns and yet so full of life. When an artist looks at something like this, or at a landscape like this, they have to pour themselves fully into it. They have to behold it and to lose themselves in it somehow. Otherwise they can never represent it accurately. A great portrait or landscape or photograph or poem or film has to deeply attend to what is before us. It seems to me that Jesus had that quality, that artistic quality. Oscar Wilde called his life the most beautiful poem, and I think that there was a poetry about the way particularly he regarded other people. And regard is the key word here. We translate regarde as to look at, but it's so much more than that, isn't it? Regard is to truly behold another person, to take them in, and to allow ourselves to be theirs for a moment. Even in that kind of kind regards, warm regards sign-off that we do 100 times a day in an email, we are just for that second turning ourselves outwards. It's almost a kind of everyday prayer to regard, to turn oneself towards somebody and see them not for what they can do to us, not as a means of our own advancement or pleasure or benefit, but fully just to see them. This is a habit that we have to train ourselves into, and our culture doesn't make it easy for us, because we tend to amplify ourselves on social media, inevitably, but of course our true happiness and peace lies in being poured out towards another and towards the world around us. When Jesus related to people, this regard, as I say, was at the heart of his encounters. There's a story told in the Gospels of a rich young man who comes up to him wanting to know how to inherit eternal life, how to be a good Jew, in other words. And Jesus is a Jewish rabbi, so it's a natural question to ask. And Jesus gives the right kind of normal answer, the answer that the young man might expect: keep the 10 Commandments. He said, that's easy, I've done those. And then there's a pause, and in the Bible it says that Jesus looked at him and loved him. It's not quite strong enough, is it, in the modern translation, but in the King James version it says, Jesus, beholding him, loved him. Beholding him, he saw him fully in that moment. And then he said, okay, go and sell all that you have and give it to the poor. And there's another pause, of course, and the young man, as most of us would do, turns away sad because he knows he can't do that. So I guess that one of the challenges for us, particularly in this week when Jesus' life increasingly is turned out and poured out for the world in our understanding, to train ourselves a little bit, and I will try to do it as well. I'll fail at it many times today, but to train ourselves to behold those around us, to regard the world. One of the ways of doing that is by sketching something or taking a picture of it, because we fully have to give our attention then to do it. So that's one way of training that godly habit within our daily life. And as you behold, of course, one of the great joys is when, and it's quite rare in my experience, when we realize that we are fully beheld in return. God bless you as you go to ground.